Hello everybody, this is Jonathan from CorSec Props. Today I'm going to start a new thing. We've got kind of an idea and we're going to play with it and we're going to figure out where it takes us. So I'm going to do some design work here today and I'm calling it sort of a Let's Design, sort of in the scope of a Let's Play, but more with design work. So we're working in Fusion 360 today, and we are working on Penny's little swords. I guess they are called Puppet Masters by the community, but I don't think we have an official name from the guys at Rooster Teeth. But this is what we're going to make today. We're going to do it just in its sword form. We may remix it and do it in the gun form as well, but this is where we're going to start. Basically what I'm going to do is, this may be a few episodes, it may be 1 or 2 episodes, maybe more, depends on how long it takes. But instead of doing one giant chunk, we're going to split this up a little bit, makes it a little easier on our end. But essentially, this is, we're just going to go dig into it and kind of show you how I go about my design work, how I work in Fusion. We're going to be setting this up to be 3D printed and eventually releasing the files for sale on our website and all of that jazz. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just get into it. Now, according to the wiki, this girl is 5'5", but we don't have a dimension for her swords. So we're going to have to do some estimating. Let's actually get a calculator here. Alright, so let's take this. Now, I couldn't find a full body shot of her with the sword, which is complicated. A lot of the characters put them on their waist so you can use it, but hers kind of disappear into a magic cavity in her robot body. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to guesstimate that her knees are about there, so we're going to go to about here, and then we're just going to kind of guesstimate from there to make a sort of an estimation, and I'm probably going to end up making it somewhere in the range that we did with Milo. We did that file a while back, converted it from SketchUp, but this is a tool. I'll put this link in the description. I use it all the time. It's kind of a pixel measurer. You'll kind of see why here in a minute. So we need to go 5. I'm going to go ahead and convert everything to metric because it's easier. It's easier in the software, and it's sort of how I do my design stuff. So she is approximately 651 millimeters long. Now we're going to take this and add a line here, and this is a fairly straight, and that's why I like this picture because it's straight on the weapon. We'll use it a little bit to get this contour here in a minute, but for the most part, we're just trying to get our scaling down here. So we take our little tool here and boom. So it's about as tall as her, and that doesn't sound right. Now she's further back in the frame and these are forward, so we've got to compensate for that as well. I don't believe, looking at my other shots, that I have a better... this is all the reference we have. We've got a lot of reference to the weapon, but not many with her in it. So I think we're going to call an audible here and just call it Milo's length, which if I remember correctly was like 1100. We'll go ahead and pull that file up real quick and just verify it. So we'll be getting into that in a minute. So back over to Fusion. Because I am going to use that as a reference because we haven't figured it out. I could pull up, I do have some shots of the Milo fight, but this is a file we want. So basically what this series is just going to be me sort of trying to figure out or work on this design stuff, get you a picture behind the scenes. As you can see, this is our model of Milo. This was a disaster to design. I streamed part of this, I think, but we learned a lot in doing this file, and yeah. So we made her sword about 800 millimeters long, So we're probably going to start there, and then we'll see, and then we'll put some reference in once we get some more baubles. You know, more pieces. We'll look at some of it and see. We can scale things after the fact. So what we are going to do is delete this line. We're going to take our baseline and make it there, and then call this 800 millimeters long. Then we can add a line, and that'll give us some dimensions like here, you know, 60. That sounds about right. This right here, 70 millimeters. That sounds pretty close. This I'm going to guesstimate 20 millimeters, about 3/4 of an inch. We might go a little bit longer just because that dimension might be a little off. Considering now she's a female hand and I have a lot of trouble with this. I tend to oversize female weapons because I don't have female hands. So there is a big difference, pretty much in the averages, and she's kind of a medium sized, like a regular sized female. But this is, you know, our palm is about 50 millimeters. Now she never picks up the sword, so that's not gonna help us, but 100 millimeters right there is okay. So we'll start with this and get it in there. Now I don't normally start this way, but let's get Milo out of here so we can bog down stuff, because that file's, we're not even gonna talk about that file. It got to the point where I was just pulling my hair out. But we do want to insert a canvas here, and we are actually going to pull that picture from my reference folders. Where are we at here? Okay, let's find the RWBY stuff. Boom. Penny, and we want that picture. Boom. Alright, we're going to drop this into the plane here. This is where things get tricky. Oh, come on. Why are you not rotating for me? I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, we want to go to top anyway. We'll use a little cube. So, I don't know if I can do an inspection while this is open. No, I can't. So we're just going to drop this in. In fact, I think it already did without me doing anything. And what we're going to do is create a bounding box, sort of just a simple sketch on this plane to give me a reference. So we're going to call it 60 millimeters wide by, what do we say, 800? And, oh, it didn't do that. Alright. 800 in this dimension and 60 in the other. Okay, complete that. Okay, so this is our weapon. Obviously, this is a little too small. Just a little bit. So we're going to edit this, edit the canvas, and we're going to scale this till the sword fits in that. Now, one of the things I don't necessarily like about Fusion when it comes to stuff like this is, get rid of that panel, I got more room to work here, is I don't think I can dictate where the point of scaling is. It just scales around the center, which is sort of annoying, but we can work with it. Alright, let's see here. A little bit big now. Okay, that should be just nigh on to perfect. Tuck her in right there. Alright, so that gives us a good starting point. Let's anchor that. Now we're still in this sketch, and so I'm going to take these. Actually, I think I'm just going to delete these. Get rid of them. Don't need them. Alright, now we're going to kind of flesh out the weapon here real quick, and we're going to be using a couple tools. So we're going to use a rectangle. Actually, let's use a line tool. Start here. So 100 millimeters. I'm going to do a lot of rounding because, well, I have an OCD condition. sketch is visible. Why is my... Alright. That's... I don't know why I'm losing my line here, but... that is vaguely annoying. Alright, let's cancel that. Alright, we're gonna go back into... well, come on. Edit this. I need opacity. Quite a bit of it, actually. I usually set her to somewhere. That'll probably be good for now. Okay, back at it. Alright, now we're gonna come up. Let's try 15 for now. Like I said, some of these dimensions we may change, and we can do that in SketchUp pretty quick. So this was 100 millimeters, and that's why I do exact, because now I know these two lines are parallel. That's going to come into effect later. In fact, we're going to go ahead and use it right now, because we're a little bit off, but I want to hit the center of this, or at least estimate it. So let's go to 35. Draw a circle. Boom. And see, we're just a little bit off. So we can edit this dimension to 30. And this is probably too short. It is. So let's try 32. Oh, right. And... yeah, right, it's going to be 30. I think it's 32 with... instead of going to here, we go to top of the circle. Yeah. So we're going to actually go to here. Alright, that's going to work. And then we want to trim these guys out of here. You could make them construction lines, but I'm just going to get rid of them for now. Now we're going to use the spline tool, and this is where we're going to kind of get into some creative interpretation. But what the... I kind of wonder... I wonder if I lost a... So Fusion has a habit of killing my middle mouse buttons on my mice. And I wonder if that's what happened again, because it was working, but I am not. There she goes. Yeah, I think it's my middle mouse button. Alright, because we're going to sharp point here, we're going to go ahead and stop the spline. That's really the only way to get a sharp point. I mean, you can play with it, but it's just easier to stop. And then we're going to repeat, come down this chain here. This actually get really annoying because my middle mouse button's gone. I'll have to go get a new mouse again. One of these days, I'll just buy a decent one. Someday. Instead of buying these, like, wireless ones that are, like, 20 bucks. Okay, we got another peak here, so we're going to stop that, and boom. Actually, we'll go ahead and make that just a straight line. I don't know if it makes any difference, but I do like... a line operation is a much simpler sort of operation, so to speak. Now, because we want this, we're going to want this exactly parallel to plane. Where'd she go? Alright, maybe I'm confused. Why did we do that? This should be... alright, fine. It wants 90, it doesn't want 0. Don't know why. But we want to come all the way down into here. Now, this is where we have a problem. Alright, you know what? We're going to draw this line, then we're going to look at it. Am I off? Yeah, this weapon might not be... we might have wanted to design it on the one below it. It's hard to tell which one's going to be perfectly perpendicular. Let's draw a test line right here. All the way across here. Boom. And that's at 90. This one's actually better. I don't know if it matters. I'd rather design it... you know what? There is a bit of curve at the end of this blade. Where's my reference? No. Welcome to designing in trying to replicate things. Alright, let's get rid of that line. We gotta make a decision here. So, normally a sword like this would have... because this is gonna be too thin. However, it's definitely parallel to here, but not to there. So we'll go ahead and delete that, and we will take our line from here and just eyeball it in. To there. Alright, so we've got to start. We'll turn this off for now. Kill the origin as well. Oh wow, that's driving me nuts. Alright, come on. There she goes. And now that's even worse. Anyway. Alright, now, how do we want to do this? I think we're gonna... look at some of our other reference. So let's bring that back in. I've got some. And this is where we're going to figure out some comparative thicknesses, so to speak. So for instance, we look at the blade here. This blade is not as thick as the pommel, but it's got a detail here that protrudes out to be just slightly bigger than the on-off switch. Whatever. The crossguard. That would be what you'd call it on a real sword. So what we can do is then come up with a good size. Let me see if I can't find... I captured quite a bit of reference. What I want now is a size reference, a profile of the entire weapon. And I thought I had one. That one's not quite. But let's pull this one into our handy dandy tool over here. Alright, which one is that? One of these. So we're gonna make this blue line here the full length. And this is just getting a ballpark. It's not in the right plane, it's all this crazy stuff. It's not perpendicular. But it's showing that it's about an inch. So I would say that this piece is 30 millimeters thick. That's going to be a good sword distance, because then that'll put this a little bit different. So if this is 30, so again we'll do this. If that is 30, then how thick is that? No, that's not working. Alright, we're just going to, again, do some estimation. So, the blade itself, we're going to extrude. And we're just going to build the form. Oh, jeez, that's killing me. Alright, how do I want to do this? We do want to do a symmetrical. So, what this is going to do is keep the weapon on... Let me pull up the origin again so I can talk about this. It's going to keep the weapon centered around this axis, and that's going to be good. So let's get to work around that. What did we determine that this was going to be about 30? So let's go for a full inch on the blade, which would be 25 millimeters. So it's going to be 12.5. I can math, I swear. And then... yeah. Because we're symmetrically pulling it in 2 dimensions, so it's going to be 12.5 this way and 12.5 that way. So that's why we're doing that. We do want a new body. We want a new component. I think we just want to make a new body. This is probably bad. Do as I say, don't do as I do kind of stuff, but... And we determined this was going to be about 30. But we also want it to be symmetrical, so 15 millimeters symmetrical. We don't want to join this, because we do want a new body. Because we're going to play with this here in a minute. This guy, I'm not messing with right now, because he's actually... Never mind, I am going to do it. We'll call this guy... Go back to our screenshots. it is a little bit thinner than everything else. So let's say this is 20 millimeters, and 20 millimeters is about 3/4 of an inch, which is equivalent to like a 1/2 inch PVC pipe, outside diameter, all of that jazz. So it'll be thin, but it's kind of supposed to be. So we'll go ahead and make that, extrude that 10 symmetrically. Okay, and now we're gonna rough in the whole weapon. So that's where our fillet command comes in, and this is where I really wish I had an orbit that worked. Alright, let's get rid of our origin again. Normally the origin is not such a pain in the butt, but it's also kind of a smaller weapon and riding right on it. Alright. Let's just do that. This is why it's annoying. Okay. I gotta really crank on this mouse. You can probably hear me creaking my mouse, just cranking on it. Alright, now we're gonna fillet this, and I think I want to do something like this. I don't know, because this may end up having to be a revolve, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but let me find a good... So, there's definitely an indentation here. This sword is probably terrible to actually hold on to. But no, this is ovoid? Ovoid? I don't know. But it's kind of an oval here, so I don't think the fillet command is going to do it for us. Because, yeah, I just don't think it's going to do it for us. Because that's going to make a circle. It's either going to make a circle, well, a half circle, I don't know, that's it glitching out. Or it's going to make a rounded square. And I don't think I want a rounded square. I want a more of an oval shape, maybe. I don't know. Well, we could adjust. Okay, let's do an inspection here. If I... What did I do here? Go to this point to this point. That's probably the problem. Either we're too thick on this dimension or not enough on this dimension. So let's go ahead and this is fusion. So we double click on this extrusion. That brings up this extrusion. I can talk. Not really. I'm lying. So what we're going to do is change that dimension. And now that's changed. And we could go all the way back and change it if I don't like it at the beginning, blah, blah, blah. Fusion's timeline is probably one of my favorite features. Now we've got all of these selected for fillet. And as you can see, it's a little more like the shape I wanted, but we're not quite. I'm trying to think. I want to go all the way in, and I think I do. Unfortunately, yeah. Okay. Alright, that looks to be really good. It's got a nice flat edge here, which will be really good for keying these in, so yeah, we'll keep that. Now we're going to do this boy. Actually, did I do a bad? I did do a bad. Alright, open this extrusion again. I've never done this, so we'll see what happens. Alright. I did a join operation, so these two pieces are connected. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to do a new body. And boom, good. That is terrible. I shouldn't have done that. So we're going to do another fillet. And we want to round these off. And this is where things get... This is why I don't want them to be the same body, because it's going to be terrible. Let's look at our reference here. It does look like there's kind of a thing there. Where's my face on? And this is the question we have now is this a flat edge or does it round? And I think that it is a fully rounded circle. So that's a problem. Well, it's not really a big problem, but it's kind of a problem. As we're trying to make all these shapes mesh up. But this is the shape we want. But if you look, this circle right here it's not doing it. I don't know how to talk. I'll learn. Let's experiment. I'm not sure how to do this. So it's got to be curved around the edge, but I need a flatter surface. So let's do this. Then we will scale this part up. All right. Modify, we're going to scale this body around a point that should be in the center. All right. I kind of hate that it doesn't do that. That point. So we're going to make this a little bit bigger. We're going to make it a lot bigger. I'm going to have to go get a mouse after we're done with this episode. But I do want to get this all roughed in before we cut. Okay. Let's make it a nice round number, 1.3. Okay. Now, because this is what we want to do. There's two ways to do this, but I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to do it twice. It's sort of a mixed bag here. All right. No, I think I want that to be -4. Possibly -3. -4. Okay. Now we're going to do a split body operation. Boom. Select tool. Use the construction plane. That'll slice that open. That's going to create a new body here. We're going to get rid of it. So you don't want to delete that. You want to remove it, because if you delete it, things can happen. Bad things. Very bad things. Let's get this construction plane out of the way. And that is looking pretty close to what we want. So we're going to do another construction plane down here. And do -4. And basically repeat what we just did. Turn our construction planes back on. Now, the other way to do this would have been to create a plane between 2 points, cut the thing in half, do the top, mirror it, but I thought this is basically a little bit better. However, I don't know, I'll think about it between this episode and the next. The reason I'm torn about it is simple. I would have rather... We're going to do some modifications to this, and instead of repeating them, but we'll just do it to the top, cut it, and flip it, because we'll do all of the operations to one piece and then flip it. So we could have just cut that off and left it, but I do like it for the reference having the body like we've got it. This actually is pretty good that these are overlapping a little bit, because we can do something like this. Let's go combine this boy with this boy and do a cut operation and keep the tool. And then that's the slot we'll use. Now we'll probably run a dowel rod all the way through the thing, but anyway. Enough yak. Alright. This is going to be complicated. This is going to be a chamfer operation, which is different from fillet. Fillet creates a rounded edge. Chamfer creates a flat edge. And hopefully this allows me to do this and doesn't glitch on me. So we'll get all of our edges, and then we'll make them pointy. Like a sword. It's gonna get cranky once you go beyond a point. So, what did we say this was? 12.5? Is that it? Yeah, okay. So, we're filleting in 12.5. Because that's half the thickness of the overall piece, and both of them coming together means we have a straight edge. And so that should be the bulk of the weapon. And so, well, come on. Yeah, it's still not liking... Oh, I don't like that at all. Yuck. Okay. So, we get a good look at the weapon here. So we've got our edge, we've got all that. Let's turn off sketches real quick. So, I think we're on a good start. We're going to start adding details, cutting things up, and then we're going to look at doing it in setting it up for 3D printing, looking at all of those problems eventually. But that's going to pretty much wrap up the first episode. That's just laying out the weapon and getting everything ready to go. We're going to keep refining and keep getting those details here in a minute. So check back for the next episode. We're going to try and release these on a fairly regular basis. And I'll fix my mouse so that we don't have to worry about that anymore. But basically, this is kind of what we're going to be doing. If you like this, if you want some more of it, let me know. We are probably going to do a fair amount of RWBY weapons here at the beginning because I have some conventions coming up, and I really like RWBY, and I'm going to bang out a bunch of the designs, and we're going to get them all ready. So, hopefully we see you next time. Let us know what you think in the comments and stuff down below, and we'll check you next time while we finish up the detail work on this weapon, and we'll see where we go from there. Thank you very much.